Back in 2020, you could not set foot in the Animal Crossing community without hearing about Nookazon. The website was truly a definitive hub for all things trading, whether you wanted to visit someone's island to wish on shooting stars, or drop 800 Nook Miles tickets for a fresh new twink cat. Nookazon was tailor-made to suit the suddenly massive ACNH community. It provided a catalog of every item the game had to offer, a simple listing format that was accessible to anyone, and a central link for a fan base that was spread out across the internet. Some users were there to make quick trades for an item or two, and others were cornering the market on box sofa pieces and Lily record player DIYs, selling hundreds of items per day. The biblical greed of some Nookazon users would strike fear into the heart of Jeff Bezos himself. I would know I was one of them. The site was no hidden gem either. Articles flooded gaming news websites telling tales of Nookazon's insane traffic. Headlines stating that the site received millions of views per day weren't uncommon, and if you experienced the fray yourself, I bet you believe those numbers. Newborn Nookazon, much like ACNH itself, seemed to have it all when it first entered the ring. Fast forward about 5 years on to the present day, and well, it's not like it's a massive bombshell, things have died down. Visits to the site have dwindled to a slow drip, community events and meetups are far and few between, and the once lively trading circuit has relegated itself to smaller corners of the internet. This is, of course, partially due to ACNH's hype losing volume over time. However, I think the site might have been doomed from the beginning, though through no fault of its own. Today, we are talking about the rise and slow descent of Nookazon. The entry fee for this video is 5 Nook Miles tickets, so if you could just drop those at the entrance, that'd be great. Without further ado, let's hop in. Nookazon was founded by a 25-year-old software dev named Daniel Liu, also known by the username SquishGwin. Liu had sunk many hours into ACNH directly after launch, speeding through most of the initial gameplay during the beginning of quarantine. Within the first week or so of the game being available, hundreds of Discord servers had popped up as a way to find others to play with and to act as a point of connection for item trading. Many of these servers were busy, happening places that gained thousands of members incredibly quickly, and Liu was one of these members. He joined to give trading a go himself, but quickly found the process overwhelming and chaotic. I don't blame him, honestly. Messages in these servers could get lost in an instant, and it was hard to keep track of your trade as you tried to solidify a deal. Also, Discord's reply feature used to be ass. It used to be shit from a butt. In an interview with squadstate.com, Liu said, "In the Discord, there's a couple of different channels for trading. Fruit trading, furniture trading, things like that. And it's just chaos, right? I mean, when you look at these channels, there's so many messages, and the wait times on each channel are multiple minutes." Having a handy background in software engineering, Liu decided to begin work on a site that aimed to organize and debulk the trading process. His goal was basically to take the suffering out of trading and design a platform that bundled every aspect of it into one place. Listing, messaging, and searching could all be done on one single port on an item-by-item basis. To help with the gargantuan task of recording every item in New Horizons that could be traded, Liu enlisted the help of a spreadsheet community Discord server. The spreadsheet community Discord server was a group of people who worked together to catalog every single item into one comprehensive reference sheet where each item was sorted into different categories. All color variants of each furniture piece were listed, as well as item price, size, and availability. This spreadsheet is used as a reference for almost every big Animal Crossing site. It's really cool to see the effort put into it. Anyways, Nookazon's layout used a player-to-player approach, with the site only acting as a method of communication. Users would post a listing, decide their price, and wait for an offer to come in. Offers could be made in bells, Nook Miles tickets, or items from a designated wish list. Asking prices and the resulting offers were usually guided by the average price feature or just by other listings if there were plenty available. If you received an offer that you liked, you'd accept and message the buyer within the site. In theory, you could check someone's status to see if they were online and ready to trade, but most people didn't update that shit. In the site's prime, though, you'd get a response in 10 to 15 minutes and receive a dodo code to fly over. If you were feeling particularly odd, you could just open up your own island. Items were exchanged, you said your thank yous if you were polite, and that was that. Nookazon also had a review feature to help avoid scammers, where you could leave a star rating and a short comment. I have only 5-star reviews, badges, by the way, which I put on every job application, thank you. Other than clothing and furniture, villagers were also a hot ticket item, which could be listed when they were in boxes, which was the day they were slated to move out. A player with an open plot could snatch them by heading to your island and talking with them. Now, this was of course how you would acquire that little gray man if you didn't want to go on eBay. On April 9th, 2020, Nookazon officially launched. The site had a good sprinkling of visitors from the jump, but gained massive overnight success when Lou posted a TikTok showcasing how the interface worked. The video currently sits at about 230,000 views, but word-of-mouth marketing throughout the ACNH community helped to extend that reach much, much farther. In May of 2020, the Washington Post reported that Nookazon had attracted 270,000 daily users and over 7 million page clicks per day. That is no small number, especially in comparison to the 3-person dev team working on the project, Lou and 2 friends. Nookazon onboarded 30 volunteer moderators to keep the site safe as it rapidly expanded and accepted donations to aid in covering site costs. These donations were said to total up to about $5,000 a month. Nookazon was a particularly vital project for Animal Crossing because of the role trading had in normal gameplay. ACNH's shopping system does not allow any one player to naturally unlock every item, or rather every color variant of an item. For example, furniture in the Nook Stop, purchasable with Nook Miles, is color locked to specific island features, meaning that each island receives the ability to purchase only one color variant of these items. Furniture purchased at Nook's Cranny is a bit more of a gray area since nothing has been confirmed, but many people report having a single color variant of a given item appear over and over in their shops. It does seem to be possible to get every color variant eventually, but it would theoretically take a very long time and a lot of meaningless grinding. Or I guess that was the state of things before the 2.0 update when Reese and Cyrus were added, but this is all 2020, so don't kill me. This choice from Nintendo meant that trading to get different colors or styles was very much encouraged, but there was no avenue to do that directly in the game. This is a gap that Nookazon filled very well, even with the constraints of being an unaffiliated site. The selection on Nookazon included art, flowers, fossils, and eventually services, where you could pay another player to help you with tasks rather than exchanging items. These ranged from custom design commissions to island cleanup services involving picking weeds and flowers. Many users also put together their own gamified events like yard sales and mystery grab bag offers, which I personally ate up. I love a little party. I love a little get-together. Another service you saw pretty often was NPC visits, where you could pay a small fee to go visit an NPC on someone's island. Nookazon also owned a Discord server for people who actually preferred that approach, which reached the maximum capacity for members at the time very soon after launch. As time went on, the team behind the site continued to add updates, host seasonal events, and even partner with a few very substantial content creators. These sponsored videos often mentioned ACRU, which is the name for the parent company of Nookazon and its sister site, which we'll get to eventually. The community that frequented the site was generally thought of as pretty kind, and I didn't run into reports of scammers all that often while I was using the site and while I was doing research. One major issue and the subject of a lot of discourse was inflation for certain items and villagers due to high demand. Raymond, of course, being one of them. Most of the popular villagers did have a hefty price tag on them though, and certain sought-after DIYs and items could see major price hikes. The developers attempted to curb this with the average price feature, but if there are buyers, there are sellers. It's a free market, people will do what they wish. Nookazon centered itself as almost an official marketplace of the community, and it rode that fame for quite some time. It's unclear how long this extreme level of traffic held up on Nookazon, but from environmental clues, most unpaid content creator coverage had died down by the end of 2021. This isn't a definitive timeline, and there are still streamers partnered with ACRU currently, but you know. There was no massive loss or any single event that triggered the decline of Nookazon's visitor numbers. However, there are two very obvious suspects. Number one is the general decline of ACNH players, and also the growing presence of free treasure islands, which I love you free treasure islands, shout out the good place. In obvious news, if a game loses traction, a website based on said game likely will too. I've already covered treasure islands in a recent video, check that out, it's the mods video. video, but these guys acted as an almost direct foil to Nookazon. They removed the need to chat with someone else and grind for Nook Miles tickets or items to offer in exchange. You could also grab items in bulk, which was a lot less common on Nookazon or in Discord servers. Treasure islands usually weren't flooded with ads either. I mean, case closed, right? Clearly Nookazon was overpowered by ease and general changing trends. End of story. Except if you're annoying and you suck, which I am and I do. That theory is pretty much the timeline of events, but I think Nintendo may have started a ticking time bomb for any site like Nookazon the second the game was released. Going back to the shopping system in ACNH, the hard block-off with certain items made exchanges inevitable. You know this, I told you. You couldn't build up to unlocking new Nook Stop colors or influence the spawns in your stores. The only option was trading with other people or working with what you already had. There were other rarer avenues like receiving new colors in a villager gift or popping a balloon present, but banking on those methods was pretty fruitless. In New Leaf, a game where we first saw a hint of outdoor decorating through public works projects, new options were unlocked through playing the game. They were suggested by your villagers and required a decent sum of bells to actually build. They were long-term milestones, but attainable ones. They rewarded patience in a way that building in New Horizons just doesn't. There's no sense of achievement when you order things from the Nook Stop or pick them up from another player. Your main source of pride is putting those pieces together, not attaining them. Sure, you have to be patient to see furniture you actually like rotate into Nooks, but that's more of a gamble than a result of your work. Trust me, I have a point, okay? New Leaf's decorating mechanic provided a sense of satisfaction when you actually saved up and completed a project. Bells weren't extremely hard to come by, but you weren't able to easily farm them like you can now in New Horizons. It took time and it took effort in all areas of the game, even talking to your villagers. You needed to get new projects somehow. On the other hand, obtaining items in New Horizons was, card swiping gif. Actually designing in New Horizons took a lot of creative planning, but getting the items was more of an extra annoying step. As I'm sure you know, public works projects aren't present in New Horizons. Outdoor furniture is simply furniture. There isn't really a method of earning new island decor, just the monotonous task of reaching out to trade with others. So let me ask you this. If there's no real benefit for buying items yourself or trading with others, why wouldn't you just go to a treasure island and cut out the extra steps of talking to someone else? I don't see it as a shock that people started to flock towards instant gratification when the game itself doesn't have that many long-term goals. And that isn't a dig on Nookazon or treasure islands, and it's not Nookazon's fault either. Saving up for new additions to your town in New Leaf felt earned. It felt worth the time you sunk into it. New Horizons feels more like ordering something on Amazon. Shop upgrades in this game are far and few between, and your only true hurdle after the beginning of the game is reaching 3 stars. Bells are easy enough to stockpile in a few days if you're dedicated, to the point where Nook Miles tickets had to be Nookazon's main currency. There just aren't that many things to look forward to and work towards. Now, don't get me wrong, Nookazon still has users. I was able to make a couple trades for this video and they went quite well, but the stark contrast from the hustle and bustle it used to house is definitely noticeable. I spent a lot of time on the site in 2020, and I remember scrambling to respond to all of my messages as quickly as I could. Maybe that's just because I was popular, but now you're lucky if you get one back at all. It's sad to see this decline because I think Nookazon was truly a great community space and facilitated so many friendships. Nookazon isn't the only child in the ACNH family though. A separate website called Tradery was developed by the very same team to fill in the same niche with other games. It's incredibly similar to Nookazon visually, but instead facilitates trades for games like Roblox, Hello Kitty Island Adventure, and Pokemon. I can't find an exact date for when this website launched, but it's managed to reach very considerable popularity from what I've been able to see. According to SimilarWeb, Tradery received 4.5 million users in May of 2025, while Nookazon is sitting pretty at 180,000 visitors. Clearly, the format that ACNH has put together is a marketable one, since they seem to be doing quite well still. Of course, some people will always choose convenience over effort. However, we see evidence in every game community of users choosing not to. Shiny hunters, for instance, usually won't just buy their shinies off a black market site. The achievement is what they take pride in. Maybe if this game that heavily relied on trading had a system that actually rewarded it, Nookazon would still be a powerhouse. Maybe if the game had real milestones, people would want to play it as intended. Either way, Nookazon was a cultural icon and a huge deal for people who were stuck inside and needed human interaction. She ain't dead yet though, so go give her a look, maybe go talk to somebody, go buy an item for the hell of it, keep her alive, keep her thriving. She misses you. That's all I have for you today though. Thank you very much for stopping by, I really appreciate it, and thank you to all of my members. You're the best, you're wonderful. I appreciate you so much. Stay safe, stay wonderful my friends, and goodbye.